The show must go on. So making my fandango and making a pantomime. Well, thank you there, Brian, Jan, Boyer. And really, this is a very special moment and very special days. And celebrating everybody. That's really Caden, so much bitterness, so much moments of having a day on and another, to being inspirationally in a building a moment in life which could giving so much to so millions. And further, whatever the most of our religions and everything that goes around the idea of the soul in the meaning of whenever example Christianism tells around a lot of situations with the understanding which it means whenever there is evil, whenever there is something which is not right. Further than all, the most of the human expression, the most of everything which at the most oneself giving. A lot of people can understand in the hand, perhaps others doesn't get the essential for the what the communication given to a lot of people identifies, and a lot of other just makes a very senses on life. That saving the most of a wrong whenever there could be something which is not right, whenever there could be something which can mean evil, and further that which is not the most of all, but suddenly millions has got a very brief step forward, a very instant of building life with so much pureness and so much inspirational and so much preciousness and so much greater, which in arts, in music, even movies and programs, TV programs and radio programs surely happened so much which in the world a lot of people could have in another day of life. And that is really too worth and count. And saving whenever something will be not right, saving whenever there will be something wrong, and saving whenever there is just the expression of the pain or situations in life that sometimes are not really easy to carry, to taking over, to simply, yeah. And even though everything, it is like to celebrate. And I am thankful because of the call I received in everything that ADONAI made me be, and the whole expressions that I could make it even with my virginal French, which is not the best, and I'm sorry for, but suddenly, yeah, to celebrate. I'm thankful about everything. So, at this special morning where a lot of things are happening, and even with the pains of loss, which not easy to carry, not easy to taking over, not easy to healing, and even with a lot of other, which in virginal Frenches just goes around trying to make the day. Let's go on to do something. How about if Shgeb Elethish Emchaen Malchat Eshavalachti Smetleti Shchat Antway Monachlish Evachat Slechait Edeshachidi Hitleti Monachlachat Eshamfanon Liemot Kelnochit Shlit Isich het انتای منافی خد اشتفت دائمون که ایله خد خیش اختیارات زیبید این کلتیش کد خفید سمغلدیش خن مغلده که خد اسباب میشه خلیخیه بشفنتی ين كات خد انجيش قال خيط بيشوى خاني توى منا تلوكي كوى منا خد اشوى خنا توى منا تيش اسم خيدي عن اوان تكافين كإنتي كافي كخاب اشوى خنا وانا خين شفت این تلاقي خير شفت. Have a very morning. I'm still with this. My God, I have a pillow up to my side face, stuck right over there. And still like, my God. Suddenly, and even with the hole every day, just happens around, which you already know. I could rest some little bit, which normally lately I were not making. Kind of still, my God, just got awake. Okay. Realities. With the best love in ADONAI, I'm blessing you all academies right there, which we're working with justice scholars, and really thankful for everything you gave them to Hashem and to me and to us all. To you all which were part, bless you all, and ADONAI to be with us, which He will and He is. And your runners, John Saunders, ICC New York, Erchi Talham, Yerushalayim, and with the whole of the problems, I'm sorry for this virginal Frenches and the whole of the Davies Frenches that came on pardon. Well, I'm sorry again, and seriously. And with that, just let's try to kill him another day. And let's try to making and building a greater instant of humanity for another day and another home and another house. So I'm giving you at this morning this, and I'm gonna tell this special not virginal French that Your Honor John Saunders asked me to, and also Telchi Bat-Anchat from Supreme Court of Justice Israel. In this my delirious delusional French, right? Okay. You understand what I mean? Sorry, my little cynism. Well, ironic actually, but well, whatever. Let's keep on. Okay, most of everything which today's founding us all in middle of these situations we go through is actually one thing that we already have something of information around. There were named the EDRDMC. And this is a very thing which I need some care to be about, more than usual. Happens the problems around here that this, which I name all the time the way I do, we're making more premeditations and making the study that they says paranormal national security techniques to the building, bless humanity and crime and all kind of abominations that they are off and two and four. So the reality of this is 21 flights from Palomar military base to Hampshire, US, to Atlanta International Airport, to this is Idaho. There is cabotage Airport, Outlet and Khat-Hatif/Afin, and the rest to Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, and Europe. The flights complete with no missing, and all information and the data files are in www.https RDCMT MCR Vuelos del Poder, Vuelos de la Deshumanidad.int, all followed. In F8, the last BLYTT ICC New York gives the chances for those to be downloaded and cleaned. Even the key in my site with a cleaner and in Norton RMDF 2, 5, and 6, and 3. There is the denomination of product that I got. There are around $5.75 to $12 cost each. Anyone that doesn't have it, there is accessible. There's not really much money. Even at the exchange here, it's not really much money. Okay. The point will be about making the same things with a lot of forgeries, especially about my person, just saying and putting down everything that, like, whatever to be happening or whatever to be around. On my person, on the belief about Hashem, about Adonai, on the reality of who I am, we are, on the what Adonai we're making and giving and producing and building and trying and fighting, and the related about my name and Moshe's, and the reality of our soul which Adonai were giving at every moment to survival and trying to taking the ways to establish the right orders, or at least fighting the best as possible to this be done. Suddenly a lot of other which said yesterday that I ain't saying on the streets at the morning while Justice Paris through my mobile, and the reality of a few saying, oh, but we have a device. We were singing at the spiritual, and with this device we could making the voice come at physic. The same ones that said we done first, and Christina Gishner applauding and saying, oh yes, of course we have it, and the rest all we know how I call them on the reality that what they do to us and to our people, our families, our kids, our mothers, our fathers, our brothers, our sisters, our grandmothers, our grandfathers, our marriages, young marriages, and much more. So the reality of this soul, putting a little bit apart the virginal French, is exactly this. A lot of other forgeries between video, between liars, between supposed DNA in genitals, male genitals, which supposed made an APTR, forensics criminologist justice, said about two pedophilics of the phone police station that were also selected for the first rape over kidnapped kids that we were talking with the Justice Paris about, selected from US and Europe and also Israel to deliver into Argentina for the pedophilic clubs of Christina Gishner, Anibal Fernandez, Federal Police of Argentina, cheers, Armed Forces, cheers, military, cheers, Tribunales, officialism heads all, especially examination courts and federal, and the defensors of minors, which they do the job all the time for the coverage, all of this, for there to Kirchner's officialism circus of less humanity, destruction, and abomination to forward. So suddenly the reality of the soul is those two that I said boldly, like I named them, the way they are, I'm sure it is, and the reality of we know what happened, which supposed I will insult those two all the time, which were the ones that all around this neighborhood were pouring, even with the government of the city of Buenos Aires punteros and Federal Police of Argentina punteros and all institutional and social punteros that we call here the leadershiping, to the moving the mass, to brief the mass, to holding the mass. And also the government of the city of Buenos Aires, which we call Junta Vecinal, will be from city halls, neighborhoods, joints or leadershipings around. So they're making the job of putting all around, which since the beginning, like done to my friends all and then families, to my generations all, and even doing to AMI-Argentina, rabbins, messianic rabbins and then families, and other all around neighborhoods, institutions, telling that we to be what they forged, sliced, and organized to the making less humanity and disappearing people and disappearing us. They're saying, oh, we're all this, see, we are government, don't you forget, and if you don't like it, we're going to rape and murder you. So suddenly you get this, they were dangerous for themselves, and they didn't want to understand what we were saying. Stop it, and pray said so. You got me. So suddenly the reality of the soul is that those two supposedly that I will insulting all the time, which were and keeps on making this whole to me and to my mother and my family, saying that we to be a narco family, prostitution of the armed forces family, especially my mother and I, and we to live of felony and robbery and making informatic home banking, fraud and robberies and transactions illegally, and all that they says that we had since the beginning. And I could say now, Your Honor, my mother received money, like retroactives, to calling like this, in the translation textually at the word in Spanish, Your Honor, whenever she received her home wife below retirement, and she got a very substantial amount. That amount were on a very significant money, which at this day in dollars that she, when she could, just made in the exchange. Suddenly is a very substantial quantity of money, and this disgusting health saying, because of stolen to bring in there is some of what it's stolen to, of course. We gotta go in and taking that. And we're going to prove we have the series. And insist us with everything. Well, these two little sick ones, boldy that I call them the way I do, which they are and what they do for, saying that I lived on making orals genitally to them, and they too were making orals rectally to me, and all the time making me what they says they do to me. This one still working inside of Federal Police of Argentina like any other that generate like them, and were selected by Aníbal Fernandez and Cristina Kirchner to the making the first rape over the kids to kidnapping. For this two went to there and telling that these two were permanently doing this that I just told you. Forgive me please for the picture, but it's exactly what they are pouring all over, and even in the International Court of Justice and in Jerusalem, and with Pope Francis telling the same himself right there, and will deny and will hide him and threaten. And a lot of people won't be really able for the same such a thing, telling that they are permanently making me on this whole night, which I was sleeping like every other, that I were giving them the pleasurously and screaming more, give me more, don't you stop, I give you whatever you want, give me. And Borda celebrating and saying always wear this, and we knew it. The same alvear and the same cuerpo médico forense, and the same, the disgusting one, pretender of judge, still 88 civil, and pretender of defense are still 7th defensor, in saying, oh, the mother is like wise and lives under internation for rehab, and also sailing trucks, and also consuming, and we saw it, went to buy amapola seed. Well, the reality of this soul is exactly what we got. I bought some seed, like nourishing, but it were not amapola. I bought, couldn't buy quinoa because of they were too expensive. Told me about 210 pesos around. Told me just for 100 grams is rich in nourish, awesome. But quinoa is really expensive to me, like others that doesn't comes here. And, well, I bought some amaranto, I bought pollen, I bought sesame, the white one, and I bought this which is chia or chia. Right, it's very good and nourish that I want to take in my body. I am in a very moment of economics and keeps on siding me to robbing people and to robbing me and robbing everybody. And destroying people which wants to help me, saying ain't not coming out of here and nothing I'm gonna have, and saying that I gotta give back what they says I stolen. The thieves, the sickle, the generation, abomination, criminal, psychopaths, saying that I stolen. Living for massive rapes to whatever the gender, the age, and even animals. And to robbing those, even complete families, what they got in properties, in all belongings, wealth, and ideas. Pretends to same, with the invention of the degeneration they all are, that I rob. With them associated evangelics, which I always name, which keeps on making the same thing, with more assembled porn, more forgery saying we proved again he is stolen us, but the same arranging with the generation saying we are not going to lose and we are not going to be embarrassed and this is not going to win us. And the Lord said, the Lord of the glad God, and the reality of this soul, what we got is simple this. Went with whole forgery about my friends, about also Amia rabbis, telling that we are all prostitutes, all junkies, all thieves, and all degenerates and all delirious cycles, which saying things that never happen, and after that go to making I and them what they says we do with the whole assembled porn on videos, photo, documents supposedly signed by us all, telling that after that we deny and say, oh, we never done that, where we will giving benefit of they to possess whatever we do have for a little chanty stuff, false glory morning and night in us of them, and anything that they says we to do. To the starting the robbery and making the titles saying they giving us all, and even whatever we do have in the world. And in the middle of this all, not only this, but also Prank Crudo, Carnival Cabrera, and Anaconda saying the same. He given us the account, the property that got in New York, and everything. Also the helicopter, which ain't no mine helicopter, but already benefit in law and reality for a gift that I received for suddenly ADONAI Caden. A lot of designings and ideas and sciences to one person which made them awesome, beautiful products and technology for the people to have. And in the most of the gratitude, just giving me a gift, which I, the most of the love on this person, ADONAI, given as a gift in law, whitely, crystal clean, to a person that I love with my whole existence forever. And the reality of this all is this lousy fleece of the goat of the hell, everyone insists on making the same, like any hell delirious demon, thief, abominable, disgusting, institutionalized excrement. So the dissolve is in https www PADOTCM guión del medio planes de tomas de lo que es nuestro guión del medio plan Cristina Fernández de Kirchner guión del medio plan Roberto Hospodcott Ejército Argentino Inteligencia Estrategia Militar guión del medio plan Aníbal Fernández Gobierno Judicial Cortes de Instrucción y Federales República Argentina guión del medio ODNTCE 45778751723 38354332323232 841080 guión del medio FTMCT guión del medio Republic of Argentina point 90 F12 OS recall Malaski and cleaner my site last split ISIS in New York. The reality of this all is also as well I suppose sold or can all that I got to buying drugs and restole them to possess it and not lose to the same ones that they says I sold them. So the reality of this is in https www days and nights never stops destruction abomination robbery Sodoma never changes until the fire comes and puts them where they belong. Point 90 F4 same like before. Alright, with this all I ask you please your honors if you can having a moment with Eddie Coase or loan attachment, they can really show you whatever you need and whatever you request. I know you are watching this now, I know you are having this evidence as well, and the reality is also to calling all around to making what I've been telling you, kidnapping the kids, pregnant and families, to making what they says have to be done. Ask you please taking security measures. You have the whole names, the whole addresses, the whole IDs, which they were taking from the same frame of NSA and IDMC of the US state and also Europe and Israel states. And the ones that remains around there, CABA already happened in US, and POTUC already made in the chat in Europe, and remains in problems still Israel, and that's all. So I keep it as your honor. Delphi Coded already has the whole of the information you requested, and the briefs are exactly remarkable, detailed, perfect in everything. There's no missing, there's nothing away from reality and from the real which you have in hands, and already getting right to the meeting time. So I think if you can take the measures for security, everything's gonna be just like Epheat said. Okay, the scores of today are really big. We have 1,814,214 persons murdered in this land. 3,816,124 in Brazil, and the rest Dola already has it. The disappeared are 908,204 in Argentina, 1,117,308 in Brazil, and the rest, Dola has it. Montevideo is always a very bored of games, of the whole of this disgusting ones, delivering the kids, the women's, the men's, the families, and the narcos, to the being commercialized all over the poster. The ones inside that made them trick or treat with this are same ones still, and the ones which keeps on being destroyed, killed, and dying are still the same ones. Always permanently happen the same. Ejército Argentino, Armada Argentina, Policía Federal Argentina, Prefectura Naval Argentina, making trades in the whole Uruguay coaster for whatever the narcos and the people to trade and sell, and even organs with murder one whenever there's not directly themselves deliverance. So suddenly, Klot de BLYTT smotletikes katchachadas smotelei sechasit tigish elkin elkidech tachachat ashna alantinit gi elchad ishoechad mat ansivit mihin. And Montevideo and Uruguay has a lot of victims and a lot of suffering and a lot of threat upon it. So, let enfot latishkat chachab sahen minti bot emproche tahashatim genik amechtien. The reality of the whole which as hadad paums al shtati were requesting, please hear the master justice. Already here with everything this recalls your head of. Keeps on making it the same all on and on, here all around, telling that they makes me speak, and they are my authors, and everything comes from them, and the prostitution evangelic saying, I make mind control and guess, so if I will do that, even if I will do that, this will be truth, right? So the reality of this all delivers on the same machineries of Sodoma and whole Babylonia, Gomorrah, and the generations all around, making what we know we suffer. And I'm sorry so much for this, really much. About atletia matletica fachachat spotlanis acheshafi omatchadik techachash afanatain kikalkei chachat ashmot ledechti afanati. I can give you a lot of things and very much more. Shalchot chet nachet chosh so et viken men chachat si initai kalchachi shahim gimitren kalki dechalchatastan. And the rumors with Anfotchat kalchadishach are true, saying that El Cairo gave them the whole of its land, even Morocco's, and even Spain and Italy and Suez, and United States of America, saying that they signed the property rights of the whole land for Luciano Troviano and Ejército Argentino and Cristina Kirchner to possess. This is not a joke. I'm gonna give you something which is dangerous, and the ones that made in this are the ones with a Telfi. That you understand the problem, not that to be with him and here making this with him. So suddenly, you're going to realize about this when Sevi and all come to give you the briefs, and you have https www.mdrdmc Middle Tricks of Argentina and the Beast, Luciano Troviano, Middle Tricks of Evangelics and Ejército Argentino Sodoma, and then bodies associated. Middle Tricks of Officialism, PFA, CMF, Government of the City of Buenos Aires, and Examination Courts and Federal Courts, Argentina, 2017. F5, like this, all like I just told you, the same like before. And South Africa is in submitting of this, same India and Russia, and even China, Japan, and Australia. And they says this is endorsed and invalidation for the reason they are the government of the world. So I'm going to ask you this, please. Kol levet chad smet oval chidi shachim del en shachit asaido not all echad sel shafachanan. And telling that everything that I am and possess belongs to them because of evangelic told them. And saying that God, which they are going to fight, given them, for there to show that he is powerless, like any vain klet chopach mikat yeshkot and chad sahot mot. Prouder, goblet hameventari, God, that generate demons, diablos enfermos, praying cruel carnival cabrera and con Dios caries. This boast Lord that they love. So, Plemet Chadin Tafel Shachti Chachad Asaf Minit Kikot Tai Chachad Ishashid. Am I supposed to lyrics of this tale? https www. Lo mandado y lo delirado por Cuerpo Médico Forense de la Justicia de la Nación Argentina y Fuerzas Armadas, lo delirado por Gobierno de la Ciudad de Buenos Aires, lo delirado por Borda Alvear Piñeiro y los negocios de las arrastradas víboras, retorcidas víboras y prostitutas, creídas de supremacía de la humanidad y salud mental sobre los estados y sobre el mundo. Picasso, Mastandrea, Fasolino, Videla, Medina, Romalde, Creisa, Consoma, Admira, Balacio, Quevos, Dalí, regenteados por la casta sodoma degenerada, Medicina, Ejército Argentino y Hospital Argerich. Point 90, F6, the same like before. I'm sorry the terms. We could avoid virginal French and just kind of rest a little bit. And I'm sorry. Anyway. This is May 27th, 2014. This is 11:15 now. Buenos Aires. And my address for getting my pajamas. Alejandro right there. Adonai will be with us. I bless the wholest, the testimony of his name. The wholest victims of war and everyone, as Adonai said, and we understand where God himself, you are mine, and victims are within. Shalom.